Hi everyone, all the judges and all the audience. I'm Tuan, founder of Finful, with the mission of empowering financial literacy in Southeast Asia. As you can see here, high financial literacy rate is correlated with high GDP per capita, but most Southeast Asia countries have low GDP per capita and also low financial literacy rate. And in Vietnam, there are around 70% of nearly 100 million of Vietnamese are not financially literate, and it will lead to many consequences that are worse financial well-being, limited opportunities, vulnerable to financial shocks, and easily exploited by predatory financial practices. Even the finance learning is beneficial for both countries and individuals. Learners find finance daunting due to various barriers. They do not know where to start because of excessive knowledge online. They find financial knowledge is complex via traditional learning methods. And they find finance learning tedious because of lack of engaging interactivity. So we create Finful, a financial education solution with bite-sized lessons that help user learn personal finance knowledge visually and interactively. And here is how it works. Users will go through a clear learning roadmap with the bite-sized lessons to solve the problem of not knowing where to start. And in these lessons, the financial knowledge is visualized to be much easier to understand. As you can see here, the company ownership is analogized as a pizza. And then a share of that company is described as a slice of a pizza. Or users can learn different types of stocks based on valuation, which is blue chip, mid cap, and small cap. And in our interactive gamification, user can choose 2 out of 8 slices to represent 25% ownership of company. And they can also kind of categorize stock based on market valuation into the basket of blue chip, mid cap, and small cap. And our current market, we're currently targeting young people who are roughly 33 years old, and they're currently trying to find for financial education solution. And we also have a go-to-market plan to reach out to them. And we operate in a freemium model, offering basics access to kind of some basic and early professionals, but we charge our premium subscription at nearly $6 a month. And this price point is set based on extensive research of our team. And we're tapping into the market of 4.2 billion US dollar of financial education. And what sets us apart is our innovative approach in financial education, combining interactive gamification, bite-sized lesson, and visual learning. And it also offers huge scalability. And even that we have made significant traction in the past, we decided to have significant improvement to refine our product and business model to become more impactful and profitable. And we have a clear learning road. We have a clear development plan to build a strong foundation of financial education in the next 2 years. And this will provide really good foundation for our next step, next milestone, which is P2P learning platform. And that is how P2P learning platform work. And we also have strong reason why we choose this platform as our next milestone. And that will lead us to strong community and engagement among our users, and which can bring us to global expansion in the long future. And our grand vision does not merely stop at education. We want to empower individuals to reach their financial goals at every financial milestone. And we can tap into the market of 100 billion US dollars. And we are calling 500,000 US dollar mostly is for product development, then marketing and sales, and the last one is for operations. And we also have a detailed plan to use this money. And we have the accumulative 30 years of experience in various fields, including technology, finance, and strategy. And we gained some recognition from the public in the past. And we luckily to support it by leading advisors. And it would be a great honor to be accompanied by the judges, by the mentors, and all the audience here to make the vision of reinventing financial education become true. Thank you.
Yeah, well done. Thank you for the pitch. So you were showing that you are targeting fresh graduates as your first customer segment, and you're deploying. You're also employing this gamification model into it. And then, as you know, this financial literacy can also start young. Is there any thought of going younger to the younger side, like more younger children, or like is that all you're targeting on the adults? I'm just curious of how you're thinking about this.
This question I will let my co-founder Ethan answer.
Yep. Hi everyone. So my name is Ethan. To answer the question, we did talk about this before. For now, we believe that we focus on the adult first, and then potentially in the future we can focus on the other segment later, because the education for young children is very different to like adult in this case. So it could potentially expand to other products. Let's think about Duolingo, for example. They have Duolingo and then Duolingo for kids. So right now we don't have a solid plan for Duolingo, like, you know, for kids yet. But it's something we would take into our consideration.
One point that I want to add on is there some more reason that we decided not to choose to go first with younger age. That is, children required huge engagement during learning and sometimes some discipline to them. So some financial lesson should be conducted offline instead online, so that our scalability will become much smaller. And the second thing is, in the past, we were trying to work with some schools to bring this curriculum and solution to the school. But in order to operate in a kind of school, we need to be much more prominent, much more famous, get some kind of recognition from the government, from
it's EY, right? So that's recognition already.
Yeah, you guys.
For now, the language it's only Vietnamese. There's no English, right?
Well, we can translate into English. So right now, mainly in Vietnamese, but it's not a hard part.
And where does the content come from? Who's building this content?
Myself, and we have a team of expertise that helping us build the content as well.
And our expertise team are also leading expert in their own field in Vietnam and regionally.
Okay, so you can vouch for the credibility of the content to say that, because although it's not investment advice, but you are at the border of saying you are training someone. When you talk about financial literacy here, it's a very wide scope. But you're going towards investments, aren't you? Equity especially. So essentially you're giving them some know-how in terms of how to invest. So then I don't know what disclaimers you have on your site, but I'm just wondering, how do they then practice what they learn? Is that something you're going to give them in the future, a control environment?
Can you please repeat the question?
So as they learn how to invest,
Yeah.
how do they practice this? Would you build in like a sandbox, a testing environment based on historicals that they could try to, invest into real equities and see how they perform?
Not yet, but potentially in the future. So right now they mainly practice to simulation. So let's say we have a simulation where one of the quizzes is to read the financial statement, and then you drag the following formula to formulate the corresponding the right formula to make decision based on that. So that's the simple base right now. And potentially in the future, we can cooperate with third party where we integrate, like a demo account. From there they can practice, investing accordingly.
Because currently your revenue model is only based on subscription of content. So when this person figures out that they know everything or completed all your modules, they drop. So how much content do you have? How far does it stretch in terms of content? How long? How many months would you get out of a person?
Okay, so based on our planning, right now we have about like 2,300 lessons, and each lesson costs about 2 minutes, right? It's go beyond equity. It could go into how to do real estate investment, understand venture capital, forex market and everything.
But you don't suppose one person's going to learn A to Z, right? They're going to come in and say, I want to do something first, then it might be a drop off, then they come back again. So you'd have this turn on, turn off revenue model. So I'm just wondering whether would you go beyond that? So if I learn about equity investments, how do I further monetize them? Even though you don't have to be a broker, just kind of sell the leads to a broker gives you a finder's fee. That's still great revenue, right? So those are the plans, is it?
Yeah. In terms of monetization strategy, so right now we're focusing on freemium model, which is subscription. And then further onward, we're going to have a community in there where that's the free user in there. So we're going to monetize free user based on advertising, learn to earn, which is affiliate marketing, and also P2P, which is a part of that as well, where we monetize those people to connect with experts where we receive transaction fee in between. So that's the first step focused on education right now with different monetization strategy. And also, as you can see over here, education is the first step. We try to help them to reach that financial goal. So financial goal, education is just a foundation. Next step, they need to implement that. They need to, personalization, risk management, so on and so forth to reach the financial goal. So that's the whole ecosystem that we're planning out there.
Okay, so you'll teach them how to save first before they learn how to invest, right? So you do the responsible part to teach them financial literacy from the basics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. One point that I want to add on is there's not merely one to teach them first, but we approach this on a kind of market need approach. That is, in the market, there are so much competitors like investment platform in Vietnam and regionally, and also personal finance management platform. There's so much of them. But there a blue ocean market, that is a lot of people in Southeast Asia are not financially literate. So if they are not financially literate, they cannot, invest, they cannot manage their money well, and they cannot use those services well. So we try to make some illiterate in finance to become literate in finance. And then those kind of people will become our customers in the future. And that is
all right. So there's one, education to understand some of these traits of investing, get the buy-ins, get the trust. Eventually they'll want to experiment, but they're also not ready to write those big checks to lose their shirts. So it comes to real estate investments. Yeah, you could learn about it, but doesn't mean someone's going to drop 100,000 and go buy an apartment. So I think the avenue of also you trying to partner or become an alternative finance instrument, it's there. So there's something to think about. Like these days, we've been looking at fractionalized ownership of equities and also real estate, fractionalized real estate. I think that's interesting. So someone could start with $500 investing part ownership of an apartment rather than putting $500,000 down to buy an apartment. So even the young professional, the 23-year-old persona you had, could possibly try and get into that field. So see how you could basically get towards that. I think that's some upcoming trends that we see right now.
Yeah, definitely. So right now we're positioning ourselves like a central hub for financial learning. So anything like learning, like community learning, or seeking alpha, is one of very huge community in there. So we're positioning ourselves in there. And also they can, in the future, they can, compare different products, let's say compare different banking products, and we also receive potential revenue from that as well. So there's a lot of different ways to monetize that. And fractional share or fractional invest real estate is also potentially our revenue stream as well.
All right, cool. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, you guys sounds like you pretty much know what you're talking about, and coming from all this EY big consulting firm. So my question would be on your go-to market strategies. Like, how are you going to let's say become that financial literacy app of Southeast Asia, because that's how you started it. You want to target Southeast Asia, and different cultures may have different habits, language, barrier could be one of your most challenging problems. So how are you gonna go about that? And let's say if tomorrow you're raising what you're asking for, $500,000. So what's your plan? How are you gonna break down your plan into doing that?
In terms of go-to-market strategy right now, we are thinking go vertical instead of horizontally first for South Asia. So what does it mean? So in this case, that we're focusing on Vietnamese market first, because South Asia is actually so diverse with different culture and so much barrier to entry as well in terms of language and regulation, so on and so forth. So in this case, we focus on Vietnam first, where we conquer this market. We understand this market, and then from there, we can potentially, not necessarily mean South Asia, if we can translate into English and it's more scalable, more cost efficiency as well, we're going to translate into English and then target English-speaking country other than Southeast Asia. But right now, for the immediate plan, we're going to focus on Vietnamese people first, 23 to 25, and develop a foundation content where it's applicable for Vietnamese, but at the same time for international market, by giving them example, not just like Vietnamese stock, but also let's think about Tesla, Google, Apple, everyone know about that, right? So that's how we're going to strategize ourselves based on that. And right now for go-to-market, we're focusing on intermediate knowledge. We're not focusing on very beginner level or very advanced level. Why?
Right.
First thing first, intermediate people, they have more willingness to pay. They have more seriousness about learning about finance. Beginners, they just come in, hoping buy, and they probably give up after a few days. It's not very cost efficient. Second thing is intermediate learner. They are a good reference group for beginner, which is the biggest group out there. No one going to listen to a beginner say, but they're going to listen. A beginner going to listen to intermediate people say, and so we're going to reach out to beginner people. And then also intermediate people going to act as a bridge for beginner and advanced people as well. So that's where we expand our market from there.
Right. So you've got about 1,000+ users right now. And then I remember correctly, about 50+ customer. So from what channel did you acquire them? And how are you, if you tomorrow, again, if you imagine you've got the money, how are you going to double or triple that? What's your strategy there? What are you going to do in Vietnam context?
So 1,000 people that we got in there, purely organic. We didn't spend any money on marketing at all, actually, apart from posting content on Facebook. So right now, let's talk about the 23 to 25 target profile in this case. We're focusing on professional group, big city like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. We're going to tailor specifically for that group. Let's say, for example, we go to like Facebook group, for example, where professionals hang out, or webinar, and then we acquire from there. We're focusing on the middle income learner, not rural area. And then from there, we expand to different city at Core Vietnam, purely tier 1 and tier 2 city as well. And then we try to create what we call as network effect. in there, where we consolidate all because right now the market in Vietnam highly fragmented. A lot of influencers there now. So when they come to learning finance, they have so many options, but they literally don't know what to do. So we try to position ourselves in this case. And then our cost is actually about 97% cheaper compared to competitor as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
And how's the competitive landscape? Are there a lot of players out there in Vietnam only? Let's say.
Very nascent and very fragmented. So it's like a micro influencer. Some have a bit of a reputation. But unfortunately, they're not trying to consolidate, rather like the personal blogger.
Okay. So, So these are your competitors, like Money Tree, and there's one that looks like a piggy. And is that Robin Hood? No, the one with the feather, the middle one. No.
Oh, it's for reference, like easier to understand.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Because you have a question?
Yeah, just wondering. So for those people people are paying you now already, you said?
No. That in the past. It learn to earn model. It's a different business model.
Okay, so everyone who is learning right now is free. There's no paid customer yet.
Oh, it's all private testing at the moment.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was wondering if there was a profile of people who paid and didn't pay yet. So that's not yet. Yeah. So the MEP you had before versus now, what's the major difference with? What was it? Zinance was the first name?
Yeah, that's it.
So what was the main difference between what you do?
Yeah. Let me elaborate that. We have two main differences. That is, in the past, we just focus on the basic learners, provide them basic knowledge, and our business model is learn to earn. Try to, reward them, like, indulge a kid or persuade them to learn things. And after learning, some finance related concepts, we give them rewards, who are rewards of our partners, who are kind of financial institutions and partners willing to give some rewards to acquire new customers. But the problem with that is, as Ethan has mentioned, they do not have a strong buy-in. The beginners, they do not have a strong reason to learn, so that we kind of ways of spend a lot of money on operation, try to persuade them to learn and gain some rewards. So after realizing that fact, we decided to change target audience from beginner to intermediate learners who have more pain points and really willing to pay money to learn for something. So we change from learn to earn to more advanced content, and which is more practical, more advanced, and more engaging, so that we directly charge learners instead of kind of learn to earn rewards.
Okay, got it. Good insight.
Also more sustainable as well. If we look at learn to earn, it's like money, like people go in and then go out, but here we try to create a recurring revenue.
Yeah.
Okay. But not learn to invest. That's what sort of like what Bikesh started earlier, the question, right? I mean, do you have a plan to let them practice, right? I mean, like, do you find that, people who want to, like, for instance, I think where Bikesh, like where we're trying to come from, it's that, do you think normal people would really, what are the incentive for normal people to learn versus so-called gamblers who can win money, wannabes? Like for those people who want to be a gambler, they will probably want to be better at gambling. Then maybe they'll go and learn more. So, I mean, is that something that you're thinking about, like, to let them learn to invest, learn to play kind of thing? Or
Yeah. Let me answer this one. We have thought so many times about that point, because in Vietnam they do not lack tools to invest. They have a lot of tools. They can easily open a new brokerage account, maybe in minutes. But the problem with them is that in the past, there might many people try to make money really fast or some way like gambling. But in recent years, the market like fluctuate a lot, and like the awareness of investor change a lot. They want to be more long-term kind of passive investors after losing a lot of money by gambling. And even like the economy of Vietnam is developing so fast. So a lot of people trying to put the money in the stock market and learn from the failures in the past. So they invest heavily in financial education. For example, there's some course in Vietnam cost roughly 5,000 US dollars, and they're still learners for those courses. So we realized the problem is that they do not lack tools. They lack financial literacy. That is their biggest pain point.
So you will be channeling these people eventually when they're ready. Let's say they want to learn about stock trading. So eventually you'll partner with a capital finance institution and just sort of like channel them through there and make referrals from those let's say financial institution. Is that what you're thinking about?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, that one part of that, which is affiliate marketing I mentioned earlier. And then if we think beyond investing app, we can think about like, banking services, insurance, so on and so forth. That's so many things that they can learn about, and then we can refer them to our potential partner in the future.
Right. Got it. Yeah, you sound like you know your market very well.
You got to just be clear, the customer you want to develop on and where do you want to take them, right? Because there's so many parts you could become, so many parts you can evolve yourself to, rather than yes, being a lead gen makes you some money, but maybe become that alternative platform itself that you think equities is the one. Then how do you build the credibility to educate people to equity invest? But not just on a global market, but also local equities. Because that's the gap that we see here in Malaysia, right? So we have a license not just to manage funds, invest into private companies, but we also have the crowdfunding license. My biggest dilemma was, how do you grow locals to think of investing not in the Facebooks and the Googles or the Malaysian listed companies, but these private SMEs that are not on public markets, but in the private structure itself. It's people have never put money into a private company in their lives. So, and they go like, when will I see my money back? So there's so much investor information, education that needs to be done about the risk and gains in that.
Exactly.
Well, of course, it will be smaller checks that they'll put in there. But I think that's something, as we all move into this alternative world of finance, people are trying to figure that out, right? Those who can control that deal flow, the education investment, can become that player and also just be a lead magnet for everybody else. So it's quite interesting, the space that you'd be in.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. We've been thinking about that as well. Like, how can we help the individual invest in a private market? We did think about that, but right now the main reason why we haven't actually doing that, because first thing, regulation. Second thing, transparency in terms of private market in Vietnam is not so great as well. Licensing and everything like that. To become a fintech company is actually a lot of regulation there. And I don't think we do have that capacity just yet. But in the future, once we grow the education part, we can go pivot into different part to be an actual tech company, for example.
But nothing stops you from partnering with all these incubators, crowdfunding platforms, VCs in Vietnam stuff.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I think our time is up. The bell rang a few times, so yeah, we got the message. Thank you nonetheless. You guys have done a good job presenting. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Guy. Enjoy your week.
Thank you a lot. Big Paul.